what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Season Gaming Bitcast. Sorry about the week off last week. We had some scheduling conflicts and travel that couldn't be overcome, but we are back, episode 94, and we have another special guest this week. So besides me, as always, Dan, the man, Rodriguez. You're tremendous today, I see.
Tremendous. Tremendous.
And welcome to the show for the first time, Sir, Mr. WilmyHood. Welcome, sir.
Glad to be here, gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Been looking forward to having you on. So I know we talked a while ago, and trying to get through some guests here on the Bitcast. So wanted to do a quick introduction for you. For those, I imagine that most of those who follow me or Season Gaming on Twitter, because we interact quite a bit, so probably know you. But Wilmy runs his own podcast every Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, Gaming Beyond the Box, and you can find him and the crew. And I know you have guests on there as well. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that you are a lover of all things horror as well and do an occasional horror cast. Is that true?
That is very true. But lately, there just hasn't been a lot to really talk about in that area. So we've kind of held off on the last few weeks.
Gotcha. Well, I saw you, I forget you and maybe was it Psycho who were talking about Terrifier, the movie Terrifier?
Oh, I love that movie.
Yeah,
and part 2 is coming this year.
Okay. So I showed my wife last night, and I think we're going to watch it tonight because we're both big horror fans as well. So I figured we'd talk about that. And Dan's shaking his head. Dan is not a horror guy, so we'll have to take this section over.
Giant pussy. Thanks, man.
But as we always do with guests, so Wilmy, I know that you are definitely a seasoned gamer, as we like to say here. You've been around a while and started from the beginning. So wanted to kind of go through your gaming history and hear from you, where you started, what got you into gaming.
Oh, man. How long is your podcast?
Yeah, take your time. We're not in any hurry here.
Let's see. I turned 47 years old 3 days ago. I started gaming as soon as it was a thing. We had the cute little handheld games, the football games and stuff like that. The first thing I ever really truly gamed on was a Coleco.
Okay.
And it was basically a keyboard you hooked to your television through an RF connector.
Yeah.
And then I remember the glory days of Pong. And if you're not old enough to remember Pong, it was two paddles. You connected it to the television, and you were knocking a square back and forth with two little lines. Was super excited when the Atari came out. Jumped on that really quick. Played some awesome games like Frogger, Pac-Man, Breakout, Tanks, which all basically were pretty much the same game, just different names. And the funny part, when I was young, around this age, my family, they owned a restaurant. And in the restaurant, we started bringing in arcade machines.
Yes.
I was a very happy camper then because, Space Invaders had a big arcade cabinet. You had Centipede, Asteroids, my all-time favorite, Galaga. Man,
Classics.
I used to love working at the restaurant just so I could close up at night. I would put me a bar stool next to one of the machines and just open the door and sit there and play for hours.
Nice.
Then your Nintendo came out, the original NES. The first game I played on that, of course, like most people, was Mario. And if you remember way back then, we actually had... It was like the Olympics or something, and the Nintendo came with a power pad.
Oh, yeah.
Which was this
Track
big,
and field.
Old track
giant...
and field?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it came... how big was this thing? Like 4 foot by 8 foot? It's like a sheet of plywood you put on your floor. And, you had that. Then you had the glory of Duck Hunt and Metroid. Yeah. And then the game changer was Zelda. When the original Zelda came out, man, it was over. I buried myself in Zelda for ages, and the irony is, even after all these years, I still remember every little tree that you can burn, every rock you move, every statue that moves. I mean, I still know the game inside and out.
Nice.
And then we had the crash after, I think it was 84. Video games sort of fell by the wayside. You know, Pac-Man fever had ran its course. It was worse than the, coronavirus now. They just over-marketed. They over-marketed everything, man. You couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you could turn on the radio. All you heard was that stupid Pac-Man fever song. There were serial cartoons. I mean, everything was Pac-Man. And then that amazing game E.T. came out, and a few other really bad games like Friday the 13th and some others, and it just really killed gaming in general. And for a while, I mean, unless you were playing on an arcade machine, gaming sort of disappeared. And it wasn't all bad, I guess, because if you were a gamer in the 80s, you were only one step above the kids that played Dungeons and Dragons in the school library. But we were still gamers. It didn't matter to us much. We didn't really care what anybody else thought. But we actually, some of us older guys, made it cool and more acceptable for the younger crowd now. We paid our dues. We were always the ones that got trashed. But I got unfortunate because in 1990, I enlisted in the U.S. Army. So I actually missed a few consoles. When I was enlisted, the Sega had just came out. I did get to play the original Mortal Kombat and some of the other games, Sonic and all those that were on the Sega console. And I can't remember the name of it now, but there used to be this game on the Sega. You played a ghost, ironically, and you just ran through the house. You were trying to get the people out of the house. It's kind of like it's almost like Beetlejuice, I guess you could say. But you would just possess different things in the house, and the characters would piss themselves and all this crazy stuff. But
I don't remember that.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun, especially back then, man. That was cutting edge then, I mean, but
it's pretty rare that I don't remember a Genesis game. I can't think of it.
I can see the cover in my head, and I just cannot place the name of that game for some reason. I think it may have just been called Hunt, and your character was called Ghost Guy. It was real complex.
They're very creative.
Yeah. And, since I did have to miss, some of the gaming, because I was in other places, I did miss a lot of the Dreamcast and all that stuff. So my thing was when I got back stateside, because back then you weren't allowed to carry game consoles with you like the military will let you do now. I came back and I wanted to dive back into it. So I got a PlayStation 1, and I don't even remember I think it was Final Fantasy was one of the games I'd played on there. Because I remember playing the original Final Fantasy on the Nintendo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember that one.
Oh yeah.
It was sort of like Link to the Past, I guess. The way it was set up is a top down. Oh God, I'm old.
No, I know. I remember all these games, man. Some of my favorites.
It sounds worse when I talk about it. Jesus Christ, it sounds a lot worse.
Man.
So, I did wind up picking up a Dreamcast and some of the other consoles, I'd missed out on too, and tried to play those as much as I could. And like I said, the PS1, I went from there to the PS2 and just played everything I could get my hands on. And then when the PS3 hit, well, actually the original Xbox, I remember I went into back then it wasn't called GameStop, it was EB Games. And I don't even remember why we walked in there. I went in there to get something. And I remember seeing the original, the OG as they call it now, Xbox. And there was a game that somebody was playing on the display called Fatal Frame. And it was annoying as hell, but it was still interesting. So I wound up walking out the door with this big, giant, heavy Xbox. And I bought Fatal Frame. It was it was good for what it was. But the game was super annoying because the ghost would come at you and the lady would just keep screaming, "Oh, my eyes!" And it just kind of blossomed from there even worse. I got more and more into it, and in between that and the PlayStation, and to this day, man, I still play on every platform. This was the same time I started getting into PC gaming. Like now I'm surrounded, I've got an Origin on one side of me and I'm talking to you through an Alienware. But I don't know, man. I got into, when the 360 came out, the first one of the mini games I played was Gears of War, and it was the original, and I sucked at it, and I mean really sucked at it. But I think most of us did when we first started playing it. But I got really good, and I actually played competitively, which most people don't know that, and I've never really said it much on the podcast. But I actually was the state champion here, and I got to go up to Epic and play there. Which isn't far from me. I'm on the beach in North Carolina. Epic's like 85 miles from my house.
Okay.
They're in Raleigh. So, but yeah, I got to meet Cliffy B, and I know the guy gets a lot of shit, but I've met Cliffy, once or twice. He's always been a really good guy. He's completely different off social media. Is he arrogant? Well, yeah, I mean, he's Cliffy, but I mean, overall, he's just a really nice guy. But I don't know, man. I was really hooked at that point. It became a little more than just a hobby, I guess you could say. And even on the PS3, I've owned several of those, even though they did have a pretty hard launch back then, because I think they were like $650 or $700 when they released originally with the big fat PS3. And I was into Mag. I don't know if you guys ever played Mag.
Yeah, I remember Mag.
I was heavily into Mag, just all the shooter games, and then on the 360 I played a little bit of everything you could imagine. And that's when I really, really got into it. I started meeting people online. I was one of the beta testers for Xbox Live. I really got heavily into it, started making friends. Actually, one of the guys on my podcast, his name's A Viking's Funeral, which he's supposed to be changing because I told him it's just a really odd gamer tag. We became friends within the first couple of months on Xbox, and we've been playing together ever since. But,
nice.
We played, Jesus Christ, I can't tell you how many hours I've got into some games, man. But, it's kind of crazy because I'm sitting in a room and I'm just surrounded with almost, if you can name a collectible, it's pretty much in this room with me. My Devil May Cry, Devil May Cry van is sitting here to my left. I've got my Assassin's Creed statues to the right. I've even got the Resident Evil house from Biohazard. It just became a thing, man. Some people grow up and they become gamblers or drinkers or whatever. I just evolved more and more into a gamer. And that's really about it, man. I mean, I enjoy all games. And I'll admit I've got a gaming addiction. I have more games than I could ever play. And if I never bought another game now until the year 2030, I could probably never play the same game in a day.
I think Dan's right there with you.
I'm probably the same way.
My Steam account is close to 800 games in Steam.
Dear God.
I've got like 700 on my Xbox One X. I've got like 400 on my PlayStation 4. I've got like 100 on Switch. Yeah, I mean, if I never buy another game, which we all know that's not going to happen because I've got so many pre-ordered now. Because Doom Eternal's getting ready to come out soon in a couple of weeks. It's just, I don't know, man. It's something that I've always enjoyed as a hobby, and 8 months ago we decided to start a podcast, and I'm not going to lie to you. I've been talking to you back and forth on Twitter for a while now. There has been times I really thought about just ending my podcast, just not even doing it anymore. Because when I started off, gaming was fun. We used to have people come over to my house, man. They bring their 360s. We'd all connect up. We'd play Gears or Call of Duty. And that's what online was about. You didn't have all the BS that you have now. You may have, but I guess we just didn't hear it as much because social media hadn't evolved into what it is now. Yeah. But I don't know, man. It just... There's some days, you open up Twitter and you just shake your head and you just close it back really fast. Or you feel like you need to, put hand sanitizer on your hands after you've read Twitter for more than 2 minutes. But
I don't think anyone really agrees with you more than Dan.
No, I left, and then I made a whole new account that is, I don't even follow Ains. I don't follow Season Gaming. I don't follow any of that stuff. I only do, and just because people are going to be out there, and you still see it, but if I just use it for like a news feed now, which is fantastic because there's really nothing that compares to it, just to get like news and breaking news and stuff like that. So I totally get you, man. It's trash. It's so much trash.
It's crazy, and I don't know. I've been on a lot of podcasts, and I mean a lot. And we've only been doing hours for 8 months, and I've been a guest on a lot of guys' shows. And it's kind of funny. I always thought, when I started doing this, I would get more shit over my accent than anything. But the thing is, it's never about my accent. Don't say anything good about, something you like, because that's when you catch pure hell over it. But I don't know, man. It's just a strange and weird thing now. And I'm so into it. I plan on going to E3, in June. But I had to back out. Like I've said on my own podcast, my wife has severe RA. So, if you guys are familiar, she takes a drug called Enbrel, and that kills her immune system. So I can't have her around anything remotely, bad. Even a flu or a cold can be devastating to her. So, I really wanted to do it, but with all the stuff that's going around now, I'm like, maybe it's better just not go.
Yeah.
So,
better to be safe.
Yep.
But I do have to admit, I actually talked to a couple of different podcasters, and I told them, that I really thought about just closing down my channel altogether and just not even doing a podcast anymore. And I'm not going to say his name, but he told me that would be the dumbest thing ever. Because he told me, just don't let it get to you. And it really, the funny part, most people know what I do every day. That doesn't bother me. And I see some crazy stuff, man. But I don't know. It's just some of these people, it's not the fact that it gets to you. You just get tired of hearing it, if that makes sense. And it's always the same thing over and over. And I became well known for my block list on social media. And I'm almost up to 22,000 now just on Twitter alone. But it makes the experience so much better.
Yeah, it does.
So
it does. I'm nowhere near that, but I have hundreds and hundreds for sure.
Jeez, man.
But I think,
and
yeah, I was just gonna say, Wilmy, I think, it's hard. I don't know, because Dan and I have talked about this quite a bit too, and what I was kind of the same way, but from a site level, I started seeing all these so-called gaming sites pop up, which were just a bunch of trash, right? Either kind of fanboyish outlets or just total nonsense, which is kind of why I started Season Gaming. And I feel like I'm kind of fighting the same battle. It's like trying to stay positive, trying to just love all games, and it is. It feels like every day it's like an uphill battle with some of these people, but I feel like because it's a battle, I want to win it, even though you can't.
Nope.
But
Yeah.
we keep trying anyway. So
Well, it's really hard, man, to stay positive with some of these people.
yeah, it can be a
Man.
challenge, and it's a shame because you can tell most of these people who are like this, right, are just I don't know, they just don't have the right perspective on life, I guess. But
They're fucking morons.
well, yeah,
I was
there's that
gonna say,
too.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
really
yeah,
what it
there you
comes
go.
down to. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's it, man. And it's when I do this, it's always been when I do podcasts or gaming or anything really. It's you do it until it becomes not fun or it becomes more work than it is a hobby, and that's always going to be my mindset. And Twitter, when I got on there, it was it's like, oh, this is nice, and then it didn't take long to start seeing just how ugly. And it's not just gaming; it's everything. It's
Yeah,
people have
yeah.
opinions, and their opinion is 100% correct, even though it's an opinion, and you can't convince them otherwise. And and you shouldn't try to because it's a waste of time. I could be gaming instead of talking
Exactly.
to these fucking. I don't want to say it, but morons. I'll just say morons because I like to stay politically correct sometimes on the show.
But yeah, I think that's why one of the people I reached out to originally, Wilmy, is because we are here. We have the same mindset. I always laugh every day at some of the things you call out, some of the memes you post. It's just calling out those people who are like that, and I always thought that was funny. So it's one of the reasons
Well-
I interact with you and reached out to you to begin with.
And see, the thing is, trying to be positive, last year, I was like, you know what? Because I do it in my local community. WilmyHood is not just a gamer tag. WilmyHood was something I came up with 10 years ago locally. Because the town I live in is called, guess what? Wilmington. And, every city, I don't care where you live, shit happens. You know what I mean? And where I live, it happens to be a tourist destination. We get a lot of people here during the summer coming to the beach, and a lot of them sadly never leave. So these are also the same people, that are always, you see them on the news, and they're always complaining. Oh my God, we had one armed robbery here in 3 months. Have you ever been to Florida? But I kept hearing, the words, how bad the city was and all this and that, and they always call us WilmyHood because they film a lot of movies here.
Oh,
Because we had this big movie studio out on 23rd Street, like Iron Man 3 was filmed here. There's tons of movies that films here. Almost every Stephen King movie made for the last 20 years was filmed here. So I kept thinking about it one day. I was watching my local news, and it was so stupid. They were interviewing this lady. She wasn't even from the city to begin with. She just moved here a couple of years ago. And she goes, oh my God, they'll just call this place WilmyHood. I was like, huh, okay. And so as it would go, Facebook was becoming a popular thing, and doing what I do, I see the bad side of humans, and you guys know, well, I know you know what I do for a living. I see the bad side of humanity. I see people that have no other choice. They're desperate, they don't know what else to do. I deal with drug addicts that's hit the end of their rope, and I mean, everything bad in society, we deal with it daily. And I created a Facebook page called WilmyHood. And it was basically just to, give people, something to laugh about. Just kind of a page to bring people together. And I do a lot of, charity work with the local law enforcement and different groups. And I kept doing it all through the name WilmyHood. And, I just wanted to, I don't know, man. There's a lot of people in the world, dude, that they just need, I don't know, they just need to laugh, need to smile, and it doesn't cost anything, you know. And you know, we're always doing donations to all these different charity groups, trying to reach all these different neighborhoods, and you know, kids. That's a big stick for me because I've got 3 children. They're all adults now, and I've got my first grandchild on the way in July.
Wow. Congrats.
So, you know, children don't ask to be in the situations they're in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do a lot of stuff involving children, and because I've seen it. I was one myself. You know, I was abused, beaten, and I just didn't want to see other children, the same thing happen to those, you know, to them at all. So WilmyHood was a thing that started on Facebook, and it was just, you know, to make people laugh, bring people together, you know, forget about the common everyday bullshit for a few, you know, just for a little while at least. And over the years, WilmyHood started to really grow. And the more stuff I did under the name WilmyHood, the bigger it got. And at the height of it, I think I had 42,000 subscribers. And, you know, I would see, it was funny because I would see people, you know, in grocery stores or, you know, anywhere, they would have their cell phones open. They'd be scanning my page, you know, looking at the page. And I would just kind of laugh to myself because there were very few people that knew who it actually was behind the scenes. And I have like 8 really super close friends that know, but nobody else had a clue. And the cool part was, you know, I'd met these 2 gentlemen at a grocery store one afternoon, and the guy was standing in line. He had his phone open. He was looking at the WilmyHood page, and him and his buddy were laughing and joking with each other, going, "Man, it'd be awesome to meet this dude, man. He's crazy as shit," and all this stuff. And, you know, I paid for the guy's groceries. And he looked at me. He goes, "You ever heard of WilmyHood?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I've heard of the page." I was like, "He's a douche." But he's like, "No, man, no, this guy's great." But, you know, I tried to bring that into the gaming community. And, you know, we first started doing when I first came, you know, I've been on Twitter for ages. But I really stayed quiet. You know, I just kind of lurked around a little bit, you know, looked at, you know, different sites and stuff like that, like Dan said a moment ago. And I really tried to reach out to people. I gave away 47 Xboxes last year. And I think 32 PlayStation 4s. I lost count of the Nintendos, honestly, because we gave away so many Switches and Switch lights and games. I can't even tell you how many now at this point. But I learned a lesson. You know, there's a lot of great people in the gaming community, and there's nothing better than helping somebody, you know, and knowing it made a difference. I've done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. You know, I've gave people, you know, their children have something wrong with them, you know, and they can't afford to buy them anything because they're trying to, you know, catch up on doctor bills. I've gave a lot of people, you know, Switches and stuff like that for their children, you know, games for their kids, and it's only came to bite me a couple of times. But I mean, I just tried to really be a positive force, you know, in the gaming community. And, you know, some people just don't appreciate, I won't say appreciate that. It's not accepted well by some people, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I had a couple people say, you know, the giveaways are fake and all this crazy stuff. And I had one guy, which was funny because he was one of the biggest people that came out and said this, and I was like, you know, I should just post it on social media to prove him wrong. I sent this dude almost $2,000 to pay his mortgage. And then this asshole has the nerve to make a YouTube video and, you know, beg me for more money. And I'm like, dude, I just helped you, you know, and your family. I mean, this isn't, you know, I'm not here to take care of you for life. But, so when this happened, he kept tagging me to the video, and I finally, I mean, it sounds cruel, I had to block him. You know, I mean, he just kept coming at me 24 hours a day. You know, he kept saying, you know, sending me messages and stuff. Well, man, you know, my car payment's past due. I'm sorry. You know, I'm not here to support you for life, man. I'm just trying to help you out, you know, a few weeks ago. So he started trying to spread the rumor, you know, that that the giveaways were fake. But it was really kind of interesting because we had a lot of people come up and say, "Oh, really?" Because we can show you. And they were actually sending me pictures and stuff of the stuff that they were sent. And I don't know, man. It's just... we talk a lot about it, and my wife, you know, says the same thing. You know, my wife's like, you know, your heart's too big, and I was like, you may be right, and I'll agree with her for a couple of days, and then a couple of days later, I'm doing the same thing all over again.
I would think, you know, as you said, there are always going to be some bad ones out there, but I think, at least in my experience, I think the majority are pretty appreciative of the positive approach. Especially if you foster the right community. So.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, like I said, man, we do a lot of stuff behind the scenes that nobody will ever hear about.
Yeah.
And then, you know, some stuff I ask the people to keep quiet, but they, you know, they come back a couple days later, do you mind if I make a post? Go ahead. But, you know, it's just to try to, because that's kind of what the community needs, man. They need some positivity. And I get it. It doesn't sell YouTube channel. Okay, yep. I got it. You got to be an ass on YouTube. But it's like you said earlier, we don't do it for money. We do it because we enjoy doing it.
Yep.
So I guess, you know, if you're dependent on your YouTube channel, and I'm not going to name any names, don't worry. You can flip-flop, or you can just, you know, do a complete 360 in a 24-hour time period. And negativity, man, it draws attention. It always has. It always will. So I just,
we talked
I
about
can't,
that quite a bit.
I just can't bring myself to be that way. You know, I game on too many things, man. I've got 6 Xboxes, 4 PlayStation 4s, you know, I mean, gaming PCs, Switches. I ain't even gonna tell you about the old, you know, consoles I've got. But I mean, I just can't bring myself to do it. To me, it's games. That's it. You know, I just like to play games. It's a good escape. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fun experience, and that's the end of it. It doesn't need to be more than that.
Well, I can tell you
to
that
some people,
we agree.
It does.
Yeah, for sure.
So
it's like, you know, they can't. And now, granted, every game's not a masterpiece. We all know that. And this gen, we've had a lot of games that came out on day one, and they were terrible. I don't think, and I've said it several times, the only game I've played this generation that I can remember that came out and actually worked day one was probably Death Stranding. That was the only one that didn't require a huge download or, you know, update to make it play correctly. But I mean, I just want to see, you know, new games, man. And the community actually get together and quit. Because when you sit and you scream, and it's a small group, we all know it's not a large group, but they're very vocal. They're always screaming and yelling, "Hey, I want attention," because apparently they never got it as a child. But that's not even constructive to gaming. You know, put logical thoughts together. Go to these companies with your legitimate complaints, you know, and quit living in a double standard. Then maybe you'll get something done. But until that happens, you're going to have what we've been having for the last 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. And, you know, we know that for a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but a lot of percentage of the people we're talking about, that's never going to happen, but that's all right.
Oh, no, the bad part, I say it all the time, and I get some hate for it. You know, I'm not going to champion anything that doesn't make me money. So I've got no reason to, you know, post on next time you put up a post on Twitter and I don't like it, I'm not going to say, hey, I don't like that Xbox. You know, Xbox doesn't pay me. PlayStation doesn't pay me either. So I'm not going to champion something that I don't make any money from. They make money from me. So
it's true.
Sounds like a lot of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, probably. I'll put it this way: I should have took a screenshot. I just cashed in my Microsoft reward points earlier. I had 187,000 rewards points.
Dear Lord, I was happy when I got $90. What is that tonight? Jeez.
That's awesome.
Well, I gift a lot. I gift a lot of games. We watch a lot of movies. You know, it adds up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But on the upside, I don't have to pay for Game Pass Ultimate for almost a year and a half.
Nice. All right, so let's move into some of our topics here. In fact, the first thing we were going to jump into was just our listener question this week, and this actually came prior week, but I saved it. And no gamer tag or Twitter handle here. This was sent in by a John Biggums. I don't know if that's a real name or not. We're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, John. So I don't know
if it is a real name.
Yeah.
I mean, that is straight porn star.
Yeah.
I freaking love it.
Yeah,
love
that's
it.
yeah.
Oh,
So and you know, I'm not one to be making fun of names. So
I am.
So anyway, the question he asked us, and I figured this is a good one because it kind of tied into what we were just talking about, or what you just touched on, Wilmy, was, what's the one game this generation that you didn't think you would like at all, and yet you ended up loving, and why? So I'll go first because I don't know if you guys already have one on deck, but I think for me, I thought about this a little bit, and the one I'm going to go with is Persona 5. So Persona 5 for me, if you listen to this podcast or you follow, you know I'm not big into Japanese titles as much as I used to be when I was younger. Dan, I did download Yakuza. Haven't started it yet. I know you want me to play it. But Persona, you know, given that it's kind of got this anime design and structure, music, it's got like a dating kind of sim aspect to it, or, you know, class management, all things that traditionally I wouldn't like in a game, and yet for whatever reason I think Persona 5 is fantastic. It really drew me in. It's just an amazing RPG with so many really cool mechanics, fantastic art, and just there's so many cool aspects about that game. So for me, that's the one that came to mind when I had to think about this. Wilmy, you got one?
Probably Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I was burnt out on the Assassin's Creed series for a while.
Sure.
I never finished Origins. I played it for a couple of hours. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. But I was talked into buying Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Jesus Christ, I think I dumped 160 hours into it.
Okay. I think Dan,
But
you're
yeah,
up there in that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm up there in that one too. I'm almost finished with both of the DLCs.
And it's funny you say that, Wilmy, because I did the same thing. I played Origins for a little while and then just left it. But Odyssey, I think I have 80 or 90 hours into it. I finished it.
I finished both of them.
Yeah.
It was quite a bit.
What do you
But
got?
wasn't it ironic? Atlantis didn't have Atlantis.
Yeah, man.
Wait, say it again. I missed it.
Yeah, it's. He said Atlantis didn't have Atlantis.
Oh,
Yeah, I never actually played it in the DLC. That was weird.
Yeah,
I've heard it's really good too.
it's really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you got one?
So I would say, like Yakuza would be one, but the real big one was probably The Witcher 3, because it took me a long time to even purchase it because I thought The Witcher 2 sucked ass. I got through
Easy
the
now.
tutorial, and I was like, this is the worst combat I've ever seen in a game in my entire life. This is so complicated and dumb. And so then my buddy's like, man, you gotta play Witcher 3. It's nothing like 2. I promise you. It's nothing like 2. Then it was on sale for like $20. I said, alright, I'll play it. And it's top 3 of the generation. I mean, it is. I played through it one time all the way through with all the DLCs. I've got it on 3 different consoles. I played, I'm halfway through it on the Switch right now. I've got, another playthrough going on the Xbox. It's ridiculous. So that, for sure, would probably be mine. And it just, with the disappointment that was 2, because everybody was talking about that one too, and I was like, oh, I gotta try it. Nope. 3 is such an improvement. And
It's a completely different style.
different,
of game.
different style of game. Yeah. So I mean, when you've got that one that comes out and you're like, okay, this is kind of what I'm expecting at least a little bit. It completely changed it.
Yeah.
It changed the game, man. Love it.
Nice.
Love it.
So we'll move into our weekly poll, and I kind of put this here because of the Xbox Newswire details that were released last week around the Series X, and because we missed last week, we haven't talked about that yet. So I figured it'd be a good time to talk about it. So this poll's from last week, but basically after everything was revealed, we asked our audience, how are you feeling about the Series X at this point, given what we've learned about power and feature set? And so it's pretty positive. Mind blown was nearly half of the poll said their mind's blown with what's been shown. Another 31% said they like it a lot. And then only 9% said they're waiting to see more. And then you have the 9.6% that are still not interested and probably never will be.
No.
You can't capture that 10%.
And they're probably lying.
That could be too.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Or broke. Whatever.
Or, it could be a number of things.
That could be, it could be that too.
But long story short, I think, overwhelmingly, at least from what I've seen, and we kind of spread this across, my account and SG's account as we always do, seems pretty positive. And so, the first thing I have on kind of our news to go through here was the reveal. So I'll run through, let's go through a couple of these details and then get your guys' thoughts on, what you think of this stuff, or even if you even care about some of this technology, or if you're just looking forward to bigger, better, faster type thing. So,
right. Or if you even know what it is.
And we could spend a long
That's
time
the other
talking
issue.
So I kind of geek out on this stuff. So I'll try to be quick. But a couple of these things we have been talking about for a while. Some of this information was leaked last year, and there's a million leaks, as we all know, about console stuff. But there are a few reliable sources out there. And so the first thing really that's been rumored and turned out to be true for a long time is that this is using a new AMD chipset, which is not what computers are using today, or AMD chips are using today, which is RDNA 1. This is the next generation of RDNA architecture, RDNA 2, with a 12 teraflop confirmed GPU. So essentially what this is Microsoft working with AMD to move into the next generation of graphics processing. And from early tests that I've seen, RDNA 2 is about 50% upwards more efficient than RDNA 1. So all of that said, this thing has some very, very serious graphical power. But I think what's most notable is that if you recall when the Xbox One and PS4 came out, when they first launched in 2013, they were only equivalent to about a mid-range PC at the time. It was one of the first generations where consoles at launch were not really like a powerful PC. This is completely different. This is actually on the other end of the spectrum, where PCs today don't even have RDNA 2 chipsets because they're not made yet. This is a coordination between AMD and Microsoft to push this technology forward. And so I think that really makes an argument for just how advanced Series X is going to be out of the gate.
Yeah. I mean,
I agree.
RDNA 2 is just Radeon, right? This is Radeon DNA. That's what it stands for. So, like, NVIDIA is doing that kind of stuff, the ray tracing and everything right now with their chipsets for PC, right? So this is them kind of catching up right now.
RDNA 1.
Right. Well, they've got that right now in their chipsets, right? Yeah. So this is, to me, buzzwords. Like, if I hear teraflop one more time, I'm going to punch somebody in the face.
You're going to hear it an awful lot more.
I fucking hate that word. Anyway, so like all these things that we're going to be talking about, it's a lot of buzzwords that people use to throw back and forth, like we were talking about earlier on Twitter. Like, hey, RDNA 2, I understand what RDNA 2 is to an extent. I understand that, it's the architecture in the chip, right? Mm-hmm. And then this is just kind of their new version, which, is awesome. But also, I'm assuming, I've seen what these guys can do. So most of my, my hope is that it's all going to work out great and that everything's going to be fine. I trust them. But also, it's not really a tested technology yet because it's not even out for people to have, right? Their first chipset with RDNA 2 doesn't come out until
Exactly. That's the
few
point,
months, right?
Is that this is more advanced at launch than typical for consoles.
Right. And now my question is, like, can you I mean, RDNA 2 obviously you can't do, but like something that's similar to that, like what would the PC equivalent be to that?
So the only thing I've seen, like, I don't know if Digital Foundry did it, but some of the early tests were saying it's a somewhat ballpark of what a 2080 Super could do today, which is basically a step below the 2080 Ti, right?
Okay.
So it's high end.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. Yeah, it's exciting.
That's the only point.
Yeah, that's the big thing is just like literally, John down the street here is gonna be like, man, I hope that thing's got RDNA 2. It's gonna be like, what does this look like?
Well, that's the point.
Right?
It's for geek.
It's the geeky thing,
like me.
Yeah.
I just get excited about
100%.
it.
I'm excited for some of these other things though, for sure.
Okay.
Except for ray tracing, because I don't know what that is.
You should be.
I have it in my PC. It once you benchmark it, it's it does change some of the graphics quite a bit depending on your monitor.
Yes.
But that's the
Very
issue.
true.
You've got to have the right monitor. So, but no, ray tracing does change the appearance of a lot of games. I mean, it just makes it look a little bit better. So, but like I said, you have to have the monitor or the screen to be able to actually see it.
Yeah, and I think it's a very good point. Well, I mean, I think that's probably why, a couple bullet points down here, they talk about HDMI 2.1 and what that's going to do for modern TVs, right? Because most people buying console are putting it on a TV, not a monitor, and so it sounds like they're trying to get ahead of that as well to make sure that they're supporting things. So one of the things they talked about with HDMI 2.1 is it'll automatically move your TV to the most efficient mode for input latency. There's an interview with Jason Ronald from the hardware team at Microsoft with Major Nelson last week, and he was giving some more details on some of these things and what they mean. And so HDMI 2.1 is you can take advantage of 120 frames, variable refresh rate, auto low latency, those types of things.
So what you're saying to me is that I'm going to be buying probably close to a $500 to $600 Xbox, probably close to a $500 PlayStation, and a $3,000 OLED TV to be able to do all this.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have to pay for gas for me to drive over here for probably the next year and a half. Dear Lord. What the hell?
So
Well, and most people don't even own 4K televisions yet. I think the last
Nah, it's
number I
only
saw
about-
only like 41,
It's like 50.
41%.
it's
Wow.
it's getting up to 50% now. Yeah.
Wow.
So and HDMI 2.1. So I have the 65-inch OLED there, but
Right.
that only has HDMI 2.0 because it's a 2016. So
Yeah, mine's
HDMI
the same
2.0.
way. I only have 2.0.
Yeah, so 2.1 came, if I recall correctly, as of 2019 models.
I was really hoping to be like a software update, but it's not.
They can't sell you a new TV that way.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
Yeah.
very true.
One of the things I'm most excited about it, just for the community at large, is this whole smart delivery system. I think that's how
pretty cool.
how it should be, right? And basically, how
Exactly.
we describe this is that no matter what Xbox you own, whether it's a launch Xbox One, an S X, or Series X, it'll detect what you're playing on and basically download the assets for that game for that version. So if you're playing Cyberpunk on your Series X and CDPR has released a Series X kind of upgrade for it, it'll do all that automatically. You don't have to go searching for it or figuring it out, which is pretty cool.
Will it not, like if you've got an S or something, it won't automatically download
The 4K
Yeah,
assets, and all
right.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's the thing that like Borderlands did it with Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel. There's a patch that you can just get for the higher resolution stuff, which is what I don't. Why couldn't they do that with most games? Because it would save so much space. This is awesome. Smart delivery is probably the
and
coolest
this
thing.
it does it itself. Yeah, you don't even have to like for Borderlands. You had to go out
Yeah,
and
you have to
find
go- yeah,
those and
right.
download them. This will just take care of it.
That's pretty smart.
So, the other thing that I thought was interesting, again, this may be the geek side of me, but this
It totally
DLI, so dynamic latency input. So basically, what this is every time you press a button, there's all these kind of calculations that have to take place, right? And in between each of those, there's steps and latency that happens. That's your input lag from your controller to console to TV, etc. So basically what they're doing here is they're going through each of these steps and optimizing so that basically your wireless controller, if you're running it through console to audio video device like I do, and then a TV, right? It'll still feel and be as responsive as essentially as if you were wired. They're bringing that input lag and latency down on actions.
Cool.
Yeah. What'd you say?
Apparently, I'm alone in liking all this stuff. So,
No, I just want it to look good and give me 4K 60.
okay,
That's what I want.
all right.
Hopefully it'll do that.
Yes.
Yes.
In fact, some developers are actually starting to speak up about that. That 4K 60s could be much, much easier because of the CPUs in these new consoles, both
Fantastic.
Series X and PS5.
That's what I want to see.
So anyway, I won't go into any more of the technical details. There's more I could talk about.
You're such a nerd.
I'll do a separate Ains cast or something. But how are you guys feeling in general about Series X after all this information's come out? Are you excited? Were you going to buy it regardless? Are you more excited than you were previously? Don't really care? What?
You're right, Wilmy.
I'm waiting to pre-order 3 of them.
Nice. 3
I
of
mean,
them.
yeah, I've got to have one in my living room. My wife wants one, and I've got to have one in my home office. So
There you go.
That's fair.
yeah,
Then one in the
I'm just
office, do you
waiting,
hook up
man.
to the
I'm
computer
really
PC?
excited. I do.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep, I've got
Yeah, man.
I've got my the original
Monitor,
Gear.
I mean
I think it's the Gears 4, Xbox connected into my Origin PC.
Oh, okay.
So I like I told you, man, I have an issue with collecting things. Gamer.
Oh, I'm with you.
I have
I've got
every Gears of War console.
Gee, Christmas.
Man, I could have bought the Gears 3 one, the 360, a while ago, and I didn't, and I should have. That's the only one I don't have. I've got all the Halo ones, but I got to get the Gears 3 one. But
Why
anyway,
didn't you buy it?
because I'm an idiot. You know, there's no other explanation.
You only live one. You only live once, man. Might as well enjoy it.
That's right.
Very true.
Yep. Can't take the money with you when you die, man.
And you can't take the consoles either, though. Don't you
Yeah,
think?
right.
Maybe
Not
by
on
that
xCloud.
time you can actually put one in there. Yeah, XCloud.
You know, I'm gonna be playing xCloud in my coffin.
Yeah.
That's how I'm gonna do it.
Make sure.
Transfer
I'm
my
gonna tell my wife.
consciousness
Make
to
sure
the
my
Xbox.
casket. Yeah, make sure my casket has Wi-Fi built in.
All right, so
No, I'm just getting this picture of like people walking through a cemetery and then like all of a sudden on their phone, like, hey, open network.
yeah, Ains'
What's it
casket.
That
WilmyHood.
that would be interesting.
That would be interesting. Oh, man.
Kids hanging out at the graveyard. All right. So we all know about the whole coronavirus thing going on, and we've seen some of the developers back out of PAX East, which is actually finishing up today as we record this. The Game Developers Conference, GDC, was planned for late March, and Microsoft and Kojima and quite a few of the big companies started to back out, and essentially GDC has now been formally postponed. And so, of course, now, you know, we're only about less than 4 months out from E3, which is, you know, traditionally the biggest show of the year, and you know, people are starting to get concerned whether that's still going to go on or what's going to happen. So, don't know if you guys have any thoughts here. I mean, to me, it's a little disappointing about GDC because GDC is actually for the developers, and I've seen, you know, many developers saying how disappointed they are that this is canceled because it's a good way for developers to get together with their peers and just, you know, have a good time and talk about technology and games and whatnot. So, it's going to be pretty disappointing.
You think they argue?
Oh, I'm sure they argue at some point, especially once drinks get out.
RDNA 1 is better than 2.
They
I
don't
just
argue
wonder
like
if they
that.
argue like people do on social media.
Oh, I'm sure they make fun of a lot of the people
Oh.
on social media.
I would 100% be sitting
Yeah.
there with them, like, yes.
Yeah.
Just
But-
record that.
What do you guys think, man? Do you have any concern with these conferences being canceled or postponed? And you think this going to have any impact whatsoever? Or you think we're just going to start seeing more kind of live stream type events?
I mean, I'm fine with more live stream stuff. You know, that's the.
Me too.
Here's the thing. I mean, I gave Sony some shit when they pulled out of PAX, and at the time, I think it wasn't as realized. I think the virus hadn't, been so widespread at that point. But I totally get what they're coming from, especially when you're pulling people in from different areas of the world and bringing them all in one little place. I don't know about E3. I mean, and I don't know a whole lot about the virus because it is worse than gaming on social media. Every single person seems to be an expert all of a sudden. We've got millions and millions
of course,
of virologists that are now on Twitter. All I know is that if somebody sneezes on me, I'm probably gonna punch him in the face, and then that's just about it. Just it's don't freak out, But also, when you've got 100,000 people in a very small area
from all around,
from all over the place, something's gonna happen, And are people gonna all of a sudden blow up, like, spontaneously combust in the middle of the floor? No, but people get sick. It's what happens, and then it'll go away, and that's it. Now, summertime, typically, you don't see as much flu. I don't know if this works the same way. Maybe it does, but who knows? LA's, it's true. You don't see, people don't get the flu in the middle of June.
Don't become a Twitter guy now.
I'm just telling you. This is just me. Damn. This is like stuff that I've learned in my 40-something years on the earth. It's just, typically that's what happens. So maybe they'll be like, oh, it'll be fine. I don't know. Maybe they cancel the whole thing. There's got to be a point where, like a certain time frame they have to give people. Like, I'm sure they don't. The ESA, they don't want to, cancel it 2 weeks before it starts. They've got to give people time. It's kind of the same thing with their, like the Olympics they're talking about. They've got to have like a 3-month period where they need to,
give. And they spend billions on
billions
the Olympics.
Of dollars.
I mean, it's crazy.
Even if they postpone it or whatever they got to do. Yeah. I'm fine. I wasn't. I was originally planning on going, but I wasn't. I had since changed my mind, and it's so. It doesn't bother me too much. I'll probably be doing the same thing as I was before, in my big bubble that I have sitting at my house around my my coronavirus free zone. I don't know, man. I'm not super concerned about anything, really. If I get it, I kind of hope I do, and then I can, maybe I die. I don't even care. I'm ready for it. Let's do this.
All right. We got off the rails there.
Coronavirus.
Let's move on over.
What do you think, Wilmy?
Yeah, Wilmy, what do you think?
Are you buying?
Well, like I said earlier, I've already canceled my E3 plans. I already had the motel booked at the Ritz-Carlton. I called last week and canceled it, so they had to refund me my money.
Nice.
I just can't take that chance, man, with my wife.
Yeah.
If it was just me, I'd be great. But, I mean, with her condition, she has literally no immune system, so I just can't take that risk with her. She means more to me than the game convention, so.
Yes.
Because we raised 3 kids together and all that stuff, so, I mean, kind of have to stick with her at this point.
It's solid, man.
Yeah.
You're a good man.
All right, so we'll obviously be keeping up on that. You can just check Twitter because it's like every other post right now.
What do you think? You think it's gonna?
Oh yeah.
You think they'll close it? You think they'll cancel it?
At this point, I like you kind of said a second ago, when like companies first backed out, it was like, all right, that seems a bit extreme. But as it's going on now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to be spreading, and we're still, as we said, 3.5 months from E3. So if it continues to spread, and E3 is an even bigger conglomeration, I guess, of people coming in from all over the place.
Yeah.
I could definitely see some people pulling out of it for sure. And it's going to be kind of doubly interesting because, as we always say, remember, E3 is the ESA and the convention center. Then there's events surrounding E3. EA does their own thing. And then Microsoft does their own thing next door as well.
It can be a hot zone.
So, but, say E3 or ESA says, okay, we're shutting down. Microsoft says we're still doing ours in the theater. So that's going to be kind of weird. Do you know what I mean? Do you still travel in for different days just for Microsoft, or
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of strange. So I'll be highly disappointed though.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to it. Staying with the Lords and Enrique and a bunch of the guys, and we've already got everything booked and planned and everything. So
Maybe they just need to get some like decontamination booths. Everybody has to walk through.
I can loan you some hazmat suits if you need them.
that'd be awesome. I'd love to just be interviewing people in a hazmat suit.
Oh,
That'd be
man.
fantastic.
That would
I've got
be
plenty. But the funny part is my oldest daughter, she's a surgical assistant, and
Okay.
she works in a hospital. And we were talking the other day, and she said the only thing the hospital is really telling her is it's almost like a cold.
Yeah.
But now, maybe by that time around, most people don't get a cold in June or July. But
that's what I'm
hopefully
saying.
by that time it'll be hopefully by that time it'll be gone away. So
Yeah,
because there's
Or we
always
figured it
something,
out more.
right. Who knows?
there's always something every couple of years. If you saw that post I put up on Twitter earlier,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
SARS, the bird flu. Yeah, I mean it's always something, man,
Yeah.
and it always
All
comes
right.
from China.
All right, so more exciting news is Rockstar. So Rockstar, out of nowhere, kind of put 2 new images up on their site the other day. Now, no one knows, as usual, because Rockstar's Rockstar, but no one knows what these images mean. Excuse me. Some people have said they think they're just default images for the site. Other people said no, these are new, and there's some kind of words through them. Either way, I was joking on Twitter the other day that Rockstar, I think, is one of, if not the only company where they don't even have to do anything. They can just throw an image up randomly and all hell breaks loose because everyone wants to know what they're doing next. So we don't know what this is. There's been a lot of rumors out there for a while that they're working on a follow-up to Bully, which is long requested now. We know at some point GTA 6 is coming. We don't know when that'll be. Some people suggested maybe LA Noire 2, which I certainly don't think so because LA Noire wasn't really a big hit for them. But I don't know, man. Did you guys see these images? Anything you think of them? Anything that came to light?
Nothing.
Well, you're probably going to hate me after I say this. I don't really like Rockstar.
Woo!
Oh, all right.
That's hot
all
take.
right. All right.
I think these guys get a free pass on a lot of their games. I've played the original Grand Theft Auto. Remember back when it was a top-down type
Top
game?
down.
Oh yeah.
1 and 2.
And and they'd always say he's traveling south of New Jersey, but I've played them all, man, at one point or another. I quit playing them after Jesus Christ. Which one was it? Vice City. I pretty much gave up on them at that point. I bought 5. I tried it. I was like, I never really played anymore. Then I tried the online. I was like, no. The shooting is way off. Just the controls are, I don't know. They're just clunky. I'm not a fan of Rockstar. And I even downloaded, I bought Red Dead Redemption. I remember playing the first one. I did try it. And then I bought the second one, when it came out a few months ago. I played it for 2.5 hours. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. Don't get me wrong, it's a great looking game. It does really look good, but the whole Western thing just didn't sell me. So I don't know. Rockstar just isn't on my radar at all. Not anymore.
Man.
That's all right.
What about Manhunt? Can we get a new Manhunt?
Now,
That'd be pretty cool.
yes.
I think they can do
I
something.
doubt
with
you'll
that.
see it, but
Yeah, me too.
I remember the original though.
Yeah, it was so good.
They used to make a broader variety of games.
Right.
Their games are just so
Maybe
big
table
now.
tennis.
Table tennis too.
Table
Let's
tennis.
go.
Let's do it.
And people
That's
take
the
that
next one.
shit seriously, man.
Oh man.
All right.
I've got
so-
10 million on Grand Theft Auto. Well, that's good. I'm glad you got 10 million on Grand Theft Auto Online.
Yeah, I was gonna say you said the West setting of Red Dead 2 didn't do it for you. And that kind of makes sense because if you don't care for the Wild West at all, that game's I mean that pretty much is that game.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
What about
It just
Borderlands
didn't
3?
Thrill me.
that more up your alley at
Oh
all?
yeah.
All right.
It is.
All right. Let's talk about that then. So Borderlands 3. we've got the second expansion coming from the season pass, March 26th, so only a few weeks out. Guns, Love, and Tentacles. And it's actually the marriage of Hammerlock and Wainwright. So, from the way this is described, it's pretty typical of Borderlands, with their humor, is that they're requesting your assistance on a new planet. There's going to be a new planet to go to. Obviously, goes without saying, new missions, new loot, all that stuff. Gage, who was a Vault Hunter in Borderlands 2, one of the 2 DLC Vault Hunters, she returns to the game. She's just an NPC. You can't use her. But her and her robot, who I forget the name of at the moment. But yeah, this is coming in just a few weeks. Looks pretty good. Looks bigger than the first expansion. I know Dan and I have played it a ton. Wilmy, you said you're a fan. Guys, getting excited for this one?
Oh yeah, there's only one issue with it.
Okay.
It comes out 1 week after Doom Eternal.
After Doom, I know. March is quickly ramping up the year.
So I will have to finish Doom Eternal before I can even touch Borderlands 3 expansion.
I
That's
think I'm
my only
probably with
issue.
you.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. I
And they're going all Lovecraft with this one, aren't they?
It's all over the place.
Yeah.
It looks good though. I mean, that's the thing, and the other ones that they've got rumored coming out with, potentially having, was it Craig?
Krieg,
Back?
yeah,
Krieg.
and the fourth.
And the fourth one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I mean, they've always done a really good job with their DLCs ever since the first one. I think they've done an excellent job with them.
Yeah. And they get
I
better
think so,
as
too.
more release.
Right. I would have liked to have seen maybe another Vault Hunter.
They already confirmed that's not happening.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks ass. But at the same time, I still have to play through the other 3. I still got my one
I was
person,
excited
so,
they brought Tina back.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fan service, and it's a really, really. I love the series. This is going to be awesome. I need to again play the first, whatever the.
I haven't played it either, so I think why don't we kind of coordinate and we'll jump in and do it all maybe after we're done with Doom or something.
Yeah, I'm good with that, man.
Because we were just talking about March. Division 2's expansion is this week.
Holy crap!
Yes, it is.
And then you've got Ori the following week.
Yeah.
And then don't you? Oh, and then you've got Doom, of course, and then you've got this. And I don't know if any of you guys are Animal Crossing fans. I am not, but that's a huge release later in the month. Too.
Me either.
Yeah, I can't do it. But I mean, long story short, March is 2020 is definitely heating up now.
Yeah.
So,
Yes,
you
it
played
is.
Division 2 as well, Wilmy?
Yes, I have. I've completed everything except the new DLC.
Nice. Yeah, we were.
And I'm
we
waiting
were
for
playing. What did we play last week? The
Coney Island.
Coney Island. Yeah, we did those few missions, getting ready for the Warlords expansion.
Yeah, some of them were not easy either.
No.
No, there's some challenging stuff.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But at least I think it was an improvement over the original.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's got a lot more to it in terms of mechanics and other things. So.
Yeah, at least now they're not bullet sponges like the first division.
Mm-hmm.
Just
there was
because
a lot
the
of
guy's
balance
wearing a
issues.
beanie on his head. Yeah, I remember in the first one, guys had a beanie on their head. It's like, okay, now I need 87 shots to kill him. So if he didn't have the beanie, you could usually take him down with like 62. So.
Oh man.
I figured I'd bring this up because we were talking about horror earlier. So Little Hope has been announced as the next title in the Dark Pictures anthology. This is the one by Supermassive Games. And they confirmed it arrives this summer. No specific release date, but coming over the summer. So I was a big fan of Until Dawn, but Man of Medan didn't really do it for me. It wasn't as well kind of written. It was a little corny. I don't really know how to say it. It wasn't terrible,
agree.
but I didn't think it was that great. I was going to ask you, Wilmy, did you play these? Do you like them? What do you think?
I'm with you. This one just wasn't, to me, it wasn't as good as the last one.
Yeah.
I played through it. We played in a couple of hours. I set that controller down. I'm like, okay, that's over. And that's about where I'm at with it. I'll play it. I'll play Little Hope whenever I get a chance. which will probably be like in 2 or 3 years if I remember. But I don't know. It didn't really. I don't know. It didn't leave anything lasting with me, except for the fact I got that dude's head crushed near the end, and I was excited about that for some reason. And you guys know what I'm talking about if you played the game.
Yeah, I do. I do. Dan's
To
not
me,
a
that
horror,
was a
horror guy.
to me that was the highlight of the entire game. So
Man.
yeah, I could. There's little hope that I will be playing Little Hope anytime soon.
Yeah, I'll definitely see what it looks like. I just, yeah, the characters were more annoying than they were intriguing, and the writing was really poor. So I get the most amusement out of it because I have my wife play. She doesn't really play games, so we sit together. She plays, and then I make the decisions basically. But watching her try to do the quick time events and stuff is hilarious because she fails almost all of them, and so just bad things happen constantly. So it's actually quite amusing.
And you're saying that because she's not in the room to hit you with something.
Yeah, that's true. She can probably hear me upstairs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see when I open the door. All right. And then I figure we touch on this because this is one of my favorite reveals, probably my favorite reveal this week. And I know, Dan, you were pretty excited about it as well, and it just looks incredible, is Baldur's Gate 3. So Baldur's Gate 3 being made by Larian Studios, who made Divinity, Original Sin, and Original Sin 2. And PAX on Friday, I think it was, maybe yesterday, Friday, it doesn't matter. One of the days of PAX, they basically finally kind of really got into it. They showed the cinematic opening of the game. It's like a 5-minute video. Fantastic. Then they did an hour-and-a-half live stream and Q&A from PAX where they showed gameplay, they answered questions. Just really, really cool, and the game looks freaking incredible. So if you're a fan of those kind of deep Western-style RPGs, a lot of dialogue options, changing storylines, and D&D rule set behind it, Baldur's Gate 3 looks absolutely incredible to me.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. That's the problem is I don't watch those, I'll watch the opening cinematics and stuff, and then I'll watch a little bit of the gameplay. I watch every single second of that video, and I couldn't put it down. And there's, he had some bugs, he had some issues here and there.
Of course.
But that's what's going to happen. And I'm not huge into D&D, but it sounds like they really went deep with the how they're doing it, and the dice rolls and the what is it, I don't know if it's allegiances or it's your something. He's like, okay, well, this one is, in the 5th version of D&D, it's not as pronounced as this. I was like, gee, Christmas, these guys are nuts. And Larian, as much as I played Divinity Original Sin 2, I mean, it looks a lot like it.
Yes, it does.
And which is fine because at least you have some familiarity there. So, and that was, that's another game I'm probably a quarter of the way through, and I still need to go back and
I stopped playing it as well.
It's so much, but I'm a big fan of Baldur's Gate, so this should be awesome. I'm pretty sure whenever this comes out, the consoles will start collecting dust for a little while, and I will be only PC gaming for, well, then again, it depends on when it comes out. Don't come out in September. Just take your time, whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, so for those who
Don't
aren't
come
aware,
out around
this is
Cyberpunk.
a PC.
Yeah.
Sorry, Wilmy, I was just going to say, for those that aren't aware, this is a PC and Stadia exclusive in 2020. There's no announcement for current consoles, although the producer, I think it was, said that he doesn't think this could run on current consoles, and so maybe there's maybe we get it for the Series X and or PS5 next year sometime. But in the short term, all we know is it's PC and Stadia only.
It's craziness.
Yeah. So Wilmy, sorry, man.
And
What were you gonna say?
I have 2 Stadias now. Yay! So I'll finally have a game to play.
Oh man!
But I've always been a fan of these as well. So the only thing that kind of irks me about it is the turn-based, but I'm still going to play it. I haven't played anything turn-based in ages, but I'm still going to play it. I care less how they set it up. It just looks great. And like I said, it validates my purchase of Stadia.
Something has to.
Yeah, I was going to say, it only took a year and a half.
Oh man!
Yeah, almost.
So, you say you have 2 Stadias. Do you actually use it at all? If you do, what do you play on it?
I played the game Guilt. That's about
Okay.
the only thing I've played on it, because everything else on there I've already played a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Oh,
but
see.
I will defend it in the fact the technology works great.
Okay.
It's really fast. It looks good as long as you've got the internet to support it. And luckily, I don't have data caps, which is a huge plus. But there's just no games. I think I looked through the store yesterday. There's only like 26 or 28 games total. That's it.
That's insane.
That's
So-
nuts. Yeah. It's especially nuts considering today's environment, right?
Yeah.
With the digital libraries and backwards compatibility, and you've got thousands of freaking games on your PS4 or Xbox or PC. Obviously, it's crazy to think that they could launch with so light.
Yeah. I guess people just don't want to develop
Yeah.
for it, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, all right, guys. Why don't we talk about what we're currently playing? Mine's not going to be much of a surprise, but Wilmy, what are you actively playing at the moment? Anything interesting?
I just finished Inflicted a couple of hours ago. I finished that off on the Xbox. Now I think you're probably going to laugh at me. I think I'm going to go back on my PS4 and play back through Uncharted.
Why would I laugh at that, man?
So-
Uncharted's great.
I was actually on Boom's podcast Friday, and we were talking about it, and it really made me want to go back and play it again. So I think I'm going to start. I'm going to go back through them. So I'm
Okay.
going to go all the way back out to the last one.
You starting at number 1?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm going to start with the first one and just work my way back to the end.
Wow.
That is a rough journey. That is rough. I couldn't even get past 2.
You need to. Yeah.
It's so bad.
Whoa.
Like,
whoa.
No, listen. The series is fine. Like Uncharted 4, once you play it, and then you try to go back and play 1 and 2 and 3,
Well,
you're like, that's the problem. It's just like playing The Witcher 3 and then going back and playing The Witcher 2. You're going to be like,
Now,
this is
I know
complete
what you're
trash.
saying. The mechanics.
It's so hard.
The mechanics and
Mechanically, it's
everything.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Well, like playing even like they just released the remastered Yakuza stuff, right?
Yep.
Okay. It's not like they took Yakuza 5 and put it in like the Yakuza
Sure.
6 engine. They just updated the graphics and some other stuff.
Yeah.
So it plays way different and I would say worse than Yakuza 6 or Kiwami 1 and 2 or 0 even. So it's like 3 was the roughest when that came out. It was tough. I was like, man, they really improved it.
That's Yakuza. It's forgettable.
No. See, that's the thing. I was so invested at that point because I played 4 games because I played the good ones first. Then I tried, then I went back and
Yeah,
I'm like, this is
yeah.
rough.
It
And
is hard.
it took me a long time to just kind of push through. And I can't do it with the Uncharted series for some reason.
Well,
I feel bad too because I think everybody says 2 is one of the best ones.
I still think 2's the best one.
Yeah. And I really want to play it, but man.
But that's why I asked Wilmy if he's going back to Uncharted 1, because 1's pretty rough.
It is
It is
super
rough
rough.
around the edges.
Well, it's
nowadays.
kind of it's like nostalgia is a great thing, especially when you're older. Until you go back and play some of these old games, and you're like, Jesus,
Yes.
why did I even think about it?
Exactly right.
Like, have you ever gone back and tried to play some of the original Metal Gear games, like Snake Eater?
I did. They released
And the camera, the controls, and everything. You're like, oh my god, how did I play this shit?
Yep. Well,
So-
they had the Metal Gear 1 on, or 2, Metal Gear Solid 2 on Game Pass, I think, with 3, I think. I went back and tried to play
the
it.
combo, yes.
The combo one, yeah. And I was like, what in the hell is this garbage? What am I doing? I have no idea how to even play this game. And I immediately died.
I wasn't even a big fan of them to begin with, so I'm certainly not going back to them.
No. Oh, I loved it when they came out, but man, it was tough.
Well, it's like...
I
don't
loved
ever
them
go
right
back
up till
and play-
Phantom Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you. 300 hours into it, I'm with you. Sucking Kojima.
I was going to say, don't ever go back and play an early PS1 game, because they're almost scary, like what they look and feel like nowadays. I mean, at the time, we were blown away. They were revolutionary, but man, those early 3D games are rough.
Yep.
So, Wilmy, that first game you said, did you say Afflicted?
Inflicted, yeah. It came
What
out a
is
couple
that?
days ago on Xbox. It's a horror. I wouldn't say survival. It's just basically your typical little horror game. You're running around trying to get rid of the ghost in your house that your husband put there for you, by the way, because he killed the lady in your house.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a really long game, but It was interesting. I played it on my PC a couple of months ago, and they just ported it over to the PlayStation and Xbox.
Okay.
I double dip on a lot of games.
Yeah.
You and me both, brother. That's right.
And you know, the irony is, and I will say this, and I'll probably get some hate for it. I think when you play a game on PC, I think they kind of dumb them down a little bit for console. Because when I played this game on my PC, the difficulty was a lot harder than what it was when I played through it on console this morning. So it's kind of weird. I mean, the ghost would jump up in a lot more spots on PC than she did on Xbox. So I don't know if that's intentional or I have no idea, but it seemed a lot a lot easier to get through the game on my console.
That's interesting. Now, is that Game Pass or was that a purchase game?
It's not on Game Pass. You had to purchase it. I think it's like $19 or something.
Okay. Yeah, I like.
I
horror
play a lot of
games.
those small. Yeah, I play a lot of those small indie horror games because some of them is really great. So
Yeah. That's cool.
Nice.
Cool. What you got going on?
Not much. You know, I it's been mostly Fire Emblem,
Oh yeah.
and I finished it. One of the playthroughs. I'm gonna go back and do a new game plus, I think, and then I'm doing the DLC right now, the Cinder Shadows. I mean, this game. If I think I messaged you guys, if I had played it in 2019, it might have been. It would have pushed Death Stranding for my game of the year, and it's a completely different game, but it's so good and so well done, and just it. I'm not a huge. I've never been. I've always liked XCOM games and stuff like that, but you know, I've kind of shied away from them. This one just brought me back in, and it was just the story was really good. It's very, very deep as far as like an RPG elements into it. You really got to build relationships with all your students, with all your and then you go out and beat the crap out of people, and sometimes you die, and sometimes it's permanent.
I was going to say there's like permadeath in it too, right?
Yep, there sure is.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. Until you get to the last part, you got like 2 people with you because everybody else is dead.
Well, you shouldn't have let them die. It's
I
very
tried,
simple.
Yeah. But the other one, so I picked up this game. It's called Stab, Stab, Stab. I bought it mostly for my kids, and I bought 2 copies of it. Go figure. I bought one for myself. Then my son gets it automatically because he's got the home Xbox, and then I bought the other one for my other kid. And we played that one night for about 2 or 3 hours, and it was hilarious. And it's just you're just like this round bird-looking thing with this really sharp beak and 2 legs. You can get like power-ups where it makes your beak longer. You can shoot your beak off, and you just basically stab each other. It's one of the physics-based games like Gang Beasts. So your directions are your 3 buttons over here, your X, Y.
Okay.
It's really, really annoying. And there's spikes that and things that kind of swing and stuff. If you get stuck on it, then you die. Then you kind of respawn. It's one of those stupid, fun family type games, but it's hilarious. And we were just laughing our asses off.
So it's like 4-player couch co-op?
Yeah, I think you can do 4-player couch co-op. You can do, we just did it through the Xbox, through what we played online basically.
Oh, okay.
And you can put in some bots. I think you can have up to 8 of these bird-looking things, and it's super fun. It's like, I think it's like $9 right now on sale, down from $10. It just came out, so I mean it's definitely worth kind of just checking out if you want something fun to play with the family for not very much money. It's ridiculous.
Stab, stab,
Stab, stab, stab.
Okay.
And that's about it.
I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's
Yeah,
fun.
it sounds funny. And it just goes to show you how many games come out nowadays, because you guys just talked about 2 games that I look at games about 10 hours a day. Never even heard of these 2 games.
The only reason I saw anything about it was Major Nelson tweeted something out. He said, "Stab, stab, stab is now available for Xbox." I was like, "Well, I gotta see what this is because that sounds awesome."
I guess the title worked.
Yeah, it got me, man. Stab, stab, stab.
All right, well, I don't have a lot to talk about. I've done literally nothing but play World of Tanks. I was traveling this week. I even installed World of Tanks on my laptop to make sure I had it with me when I was in the hotel. And they have these like 10-day challenge events like once in a while, pretty rare. And what it is, it's like there's 10 levels, and each level you go up. If you do the whole thing, you get a free, what they call a premium tank, which is a tank that you cannot get in the game any other way. And in World of Tanks, it's a big deal because premium tanks, they get you more money, they get you more experience. And, the whole thing in World of Tanks is that tanks feel vastly different depending on the tank. And so they usually have some unique mechanics or, whatever. So long story
This
short.
one has power steering, right?
And ABS, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, played the hell out of it. Got to like stage 4, which just goes to show you how much it takes to actually do it. Like some of the guys who play World of Tanks every day, they played like 50 some hours in like 6 days to get it. So what I did
Is he cheated?
is no, I didn't cheat. I did what Wargaming wants you to do. I got to like level 4 or 5 and paid the rest of the money to buy the tank. Because that's what probably 90% of people will do, right?
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yes. The good news is that the tank is really, really cool. It's very fun, and it's one of my new favorite vehicles, which, again, is what the game's all about. So that is all I have been doing. The addiction is real. I actually was playing it on my ultra-wide the other night while my laptop was next to me watching a streamer play it at the same time.
Fantastic.
I just was surrounded by tanks. So, fantastic game. But I'm looking forward to March, like we said, man. We got to play Division this week. I got to pick that up. I keep forgetting that's a paid expansion, so I got to grab that.
$30.
And then, dude, I've got the Doom Collector's Edition coming. I can't wait to get that in with the that helmet is badass. And
God, MLB comes out soon too, right? Is that April?
MLB comes out this month too.
Damn it.
Yep.
Yep,
So
there's another one we
anyway,
sunk into.
a lot of good things on the way. So, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Wilmy, man, it's been a pleasure having you on. Really fun chatting with you, and I'm sure we'll have to do it again in the future. Why don't you go ahead and let everyone, all of our listeners, know where they could find you, anything that you want to kind of shout out before we head out.
It's easy to find me. You can go anywhere on social media, type in WilmyHood, you'll find me, and pretty much any place you can play a game. That includes Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, Epic Store, Stadia, and just about anywhere. Yeah, send me a request on Stadia. We're the three of us are getting kind of lonely over there on Stadia. We have no friends and no games, so I feel like some of these Twitter trolls.
It's like an online chat room.
You know, yeah. On Wednesday nights, of course, you can go to YouTube, look up WilmyHood, and I have Gaming Beyond the Box at 8 p.m. with the Forking Crew. We're a totally different type of podcast, man. We just want to make everybody laugh, have a good time, and just talk about games. You know, like the old days, you know, when gaming was fun. That's what we try to make it, you know, now. We don't argue and we don't complain over specs or which console is going to be greater because I'm a PC gamer. We already know how this is going to end. Just kidding. But that's it. I mean, I'm pretty easy to find, man.
Nice.
Awesome. So for us, just a couple things, articles to check out. So Baldur's Gate 3, we touched on it. We have a preview on our site with some details you may not have been aware of. So if you're looking forward to that game, check that out. I've got a long article I'm working on that I'll probably do article/video on around Xbox's position, responding to some of these things that we're talking about in future tech like xCloud and you know what's going on with that stuff in more detail. And then other than that, hopefully we can coordinate better and we won't have like last week, and we'll get back to having a weekly show. So good to be back.
Yeah.
And March, like we said, can't wait. Lot coming in the near future. So
Yep.
And
all right,
don't
guys, so
forget Doom Eternal.
Oh,
Doom
yeah.
Eternal, definitely my most anticipated. Till
I have been
Last
waiting
of
for this
Us.
game for a very long time.
Now, see, my big thing is I have a brand new PC I just built.
What do you buy it on?
Yeah, do I? Because I've already got the collector's edition
have-
coming for Xbox, but do I
Right.
buy it on PC and play it at like 120 frames?
Yeah, do you have is there ultra wide support?
I'm sure it will.
Dude, then you gotta buy
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy it twice. God damn it.
Yeah!
I already have. I've got it on. I've pre-ordered it on Xbox and on Steam. So
Nice. All right, I might as well go do
I
the
suck.
same.
Do it. Just do it.
Yeah. In fact,
suck,
they came
but
out
I'll take
yesterday.
it.
I don't know if you guys saw. They came out and said there's no cap in the game on frame rate.
yes,
So if you're one of those guys that has like a $10,000 PC, you can run it however high you want, whatever your monitor will do, I guess.
It's gonna be smoking.
Yeah.
yep. I guarantee you, I'm pretty sure my pretty new Origin will run it. So
It's gonna be awesome.
it wasn't 10,000, but boy, it was close.
Awesome. All right, man. Wilmy, I'm sure I'll be talking to you online. Everyone else, thanks for tuning in as always. Bitcast 94, and we will see you next week.